Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about color density and explore 3 ways that you can achieve it in DaVinci Resolve. So what is color density? Well, color density represents how light or dark a color can be while retaining its saturation. In that example that you see on screen, I'm adding color density to my reds and you see them becoming darker. And now I'm subtracting color density and you see them becoming lighter. So now let's dive in and explore 3 different ways that you can achieve color density in DaVinci Resolve.
So there we are in the color page of DaVinci Resolve, and regarding my color management, I am set up in DaVinci YRGB Color Managed, and if you need to know more about that, I encourage you to check my first video, which is called Color Page Basics, to get to know more about that. So density, I'm going to show you 3 ways to go about it. We're going to go in the Curves tab, which is right here. I'm going to select my hue versus luminance on my panel right here. And if you don't have a panel, you can select that little icon here. And I'm going to grab my red preset and drag it down like that. It's before, it's after, before, after. And you see here, my red patch is becoming darker before, after, and my skin is also affected before, after. So this is one way to go about it. The thing with this way is that it affects everything. So it will affect basically my higher saturated reds, like this patch, for example, and it will also affect my least saturated reds, for example, the skin in this image. So if I go before, after, you see that everything is being affected. Maybe sometimes I just want to affect my higher saturations and not my least saturated areas. And also you will notice that the effect is quite mild. It's not really densifying that much. It's having a minor effect, and this is because it's from protecting you to crack the image, because this tool, the Hue versus Luminance tab, it's affecting all the tonal range. So you need to keep that in mind. Second effect that we're going to see, I'm going to go into my color warper, which is this tab right here. For a bit more control, I'm going to go 16 right here. I'm going to go in HSP log, which is my preferred color space when using the color warper. This is the way I would go about it. I would hover my qualifier on the skin and you see where that red little cross is plotting on the diagram. So basically it indicates me that I need to select that branch. Let me open it bigger for you. So I need to select that branch, then I'm going to select the whole branch and you see the dots that are populating the whole line. And then I'm going to drag my luminance down, and let me close that window for you. I'm going to drag my luminance down. So that's before, after. And you see that the problem, even if I go basic, I'm going to zoom the image for you, but here I've got some breakage, right here. Before, after. And although I haven't really pushed my density far down, but the reason why this is happening is it's affecting the whole range of saturation, even my least saturated areas. So first I'm going to lock these points, and then let's grab these. Now I'm going to lower the luminance range. And there we go. You see, before, after, before, after. Although you see it's having a big effect on the skin, the color warper gives you a lot of control, but you need some time in order to do the correction that you need, and you need to be very mindful for it not to break your image. can also go into your grid here and try and pin your reds. So I'm going in HSP log again, and I'm going to try and select my reds. Okay, so basically I need that control point to be affected. So I'm going to lower my luminance range. And this is before, this is after, before, after. It's affecting a lot more that I want, so you can try and drag that grid back up, and then before, after. Now it's more targeting my reds, as you see. Before, after, and we're achieving a similar effect, and we don't get the breakage that we had previously. So now let me show you my preferred way to go about it when I want a bit more control and freedom for adding density. So I'm gonna go into my red preset here, and it will naturally pull a qualifier on my reds. If you can make that a shortcut like I did, but you can call it, let me reset the node, so you can go into color up here, and then go into presets and select 6 vector red. And you see that it's pulling a qualifier on reds, but the thing is, it's also limiting the saturation and luminance, and I don't want that. I want to get full control here. So I'm going to go into my curves again and go into my saturation versus luminance. So this graph represents the least saturated portions of my image here to the highest saturated portions of my image right there. And you see the mass that is over here with my histogram. So realistically speaking, here are my least saturated portions, and here are my highest saturated portions. And now I'm going to basically lock a control point on my curve here, and I'm going to drag this down and see that it's going to affect. So here you see that I'm affecting mostly my higher saturations. If I go before, after, you see that the red patch is affected. The lips and parts of the skin are affected as well, but it's having more effect on the highest saturated reds. And this is because my curve is going downwards like that, and it's having more effect on the highest saturated portions. And now I'm going to try and affect the higher reds a little bit more. Before, after, before, after. Yeah, so now I'm affecting mostly these without affecting the skin. You can also do the opposite. You can also undensify your skin and then densify your higher reds, for example. If you go like that, so before, after, you see my skin is becoming lighter and my higher reds are becoming darker. Before, after, before, after. You need to be very mindful about the shape of the curve, and obviously if you go crazy, you're gonna break your image. See? So it can be very dangerous, like that. See? Here, it's cracking. So you need to be very mindful of what you're doing, but if you draw really soft shapes, you can achieve really nice results. And here, if you want to select a different portion of your image, you can pick a different hue. And if you want to, for example, densify, let's say I want to densify my blues, and I want to open a little bit my width, see? So now I'm targeting my cyans and my blues. Before, after, see the patches becoming darker, before, after. So yeah, you can play around with this tool, and personally, I like it. I like the control that it gives, and sometimes it can help you achieve different results when you're grading. And also, perhaps if you're getting breakage, you can perhaps try and add luminance into the mix so that you're not, for example, affecting your darker areas. So if I pull my matte here, and then if I control my lower portion from the mix, soften the selection, you need to be mindful of what you're doing, but yeah, you could add luminance into the mix. But I would try and never pull the saturation one, because you have control over the saturation right here, basically. But obviously, if you're using Resolve 19, you have access to the color slice feature, which can give you a bit more freedom as well. But at the moment, I'm still on Resolve 18 as I'm waiting for Resolve 19 to become more stable. So there you go, guys. 4 ways that you can control density in your images. We've covered the hue versus luminance here. We've covered the color warper, the grid, and even with the qualifier function when it's paired with the saturation versus luminance curve. So that's actually 4 and not 3. I over-delivered, sorry guys.
That's it for today. I hope that you found this episode helpful. Please leave a like, comment down below, let me know about future topics you would like me to cover. Come and say hi on Instagram, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss future updates. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.